Hello, welcome to the Salty Doodle Show. I'm your host, Chris. If you're new to the channel, welcome. And if you've been here before, welcome back. Today's episode, we're going to take an in-depth look at the 2024 Warlock P246G Galvanized boat trailer. So without further ado, let's make it happen, Captain. Okay, this is the 2024 Warlock P246G tandem axle galvanized tri-tune trailer. So we'll start up here on the tongue. It does have surge brakes on a boat this size, this heavy. It is 25-foot boat. I believe the overall is right around 3,200 pounds. So it is heavy enough to have some brakes on it, and I do feel it, even though I have an F350 1-ton pickup. But you can feel it. You can feel when the brakes are on. Just a quick note that the trailer should be stopping the trailer and the truck should be stopping the truck, or tow vehicle should be stopping itself. Starting again here at the front, I got this Demco coupler, which I've never had. This is my first trailer with one. I do not like, because there's really no way of having some kind of safety pin in here. Maybe through these holes here. If you know, drop a comment. I'm not 100% sure. It would be nice to have some kind of lock pin, like a keyed lock pin, to shove through there and lock it onto my truck, and just lock it in general. This lock that I have here is it's a Home Depot coupler lock. I think it was right around $50, but I mean, it does seem to work. But I want to lock it to my vehicle. I don't really care for that, especially on distance hauling. The safety chains, the hooks that it came with, was standard for just a smaller, like half-ton vehicle or SUV. I had to change those out on my F350. I do have a 3-inch receiver, which those hooks just would not work. So I had to get the larger hooks here. They are 5/16 hooks. They're just from Amazon. Very simple, very easy to change that out. The connection there is just the standard 4-prong flat. Do have the boarding ladder here, which it makes it nice to get up into the tri-tune itself. It is a very large step here to get up in there, and some folks, it probably wouldn't hurt to have some kind of little stool there to get, up a little higher, ladder of some sort. It does have the 1,500-pound tongue jack with dual wheels. It does flip up, seems to function just fine. I've added a 13-inch spare tire. It does have the lock onto the trailer itself. I did have to mount it upside down. Would not fit in between the tune there and the trailer, and I already purchased it, so I wasn't going to buy a side mounted like this trailer next to me has. I'm just going to stay with this and hope I don't need it, but it's there if I need it. So the tire and the rim out of West Marine was about $180, just for reference. Going here to the winch system, you're probably wondering why I have 2 winches. This front winch is what it came with. It was mounted here. What was happening was I would crank that down. It just didn't have enough gearing to crank it down, and I was leaving a 2-inch gap right here, a 2-inch gap between the rub rail and the front bumper. Anytime I tried to crank it down, it just would kind of not, like it would bottom out basically, and what it had is what it had. So I was advised by the marina to flip it to this side and just take it over top, so it had a little more strength to pull the tri-tune into the front bumpers. That was sort of working. I didn't like, they just wanted me to kind of go over the metal here with the strap. Of course, I'm not built that way. So I came up with these rollers. These are actually $8 off Amazon. They are a bumper winch cable roller, like that would be mounted on a Jeep. And I just kind of turned them in a way that it would work. So roll across here and roll across this front one here. Again, $8 on Amazon. Wouldn't hurt. This was working for a brief time. I think I was maybe into my 6th time or so launching the boat, cranking it up, and I get it on to a point where It was probably a foot or two away, and I'd be cranking on the winch because you know that's what they do. And I snapped it off here and went flying against my tailgate. So I did have the second lower gear. It does still function, so I just chose, well, why not I just keep it? And I just kept it where it was. It doesn't hurt. So then I went out and purchased this 3,200 pound winch at a West Marine. It was $300, but this thing is an absolute animal. It really cranks it down. I think I could crank this boat so hard I would just pull this whole apparatus over. But it does work very well. It pulls it kind of straight into the bumpers and also pulls it down on an angle, which is what I've read is what you want. You want slight pressure pulling it down. So that did eliminate the spacing here that I did have. There's a lot of back and forth with the spacing. Do you pull it tight against the front bumpers? Do you not? I chose to do so because I looked in the mirror one time and saw the bow bouncing up and down as I trailered it down the road, and it was pretty significant. So I didn't feel comfortable with that. Hence, this 2-inch ratchet strap in the front. I actually pulled off at a rest area and stuck that on. I thought maybe the boat might launch off my trailer down the road when I didn't want it to. So I just decided to keep this on. I bought it. It's an 8-foot strap. I believe right around $8 off Amazon. I might as well use it. Doesn't hurt. It's just extra security there. So I got all kinds of contact here. 3 points of contact. Thank God I've never had a trailer flip off or a boat flip off a trailer. I do see videos about that, and it's definitely ruin your day, ruin your week, ruin all kinds of things. So anyway, going on to the construction of the galvanized trailer itself, we take a peek down here. So I live in Salt Life in the Tampa Bay area. I do power wash this thing every single time it comes out of the water. Power wash the trailer, power wash the boat, and I flush the motor with salt away. Having said that, it's still rusting. Um, you know, galvanized is supposed to be more resistant to rust, but I think it's just salt really taking a toll. It does have some kind of pitting film on it. I am no kind of metal expert, so if you know what that is, drop a comment. I don't know, but it is rusting away. Do I feel that I'm going to get 5 years out of this trailer? Honest opinion, no, I do not. The LED trailer lights, this is what came from the manufacturer. They are not submersible, as I found out because they blew out. I do not have any running lights whatsoever. I do have a proper ground. I did purchase some new LED lights to change out every single one of them. So that's what another video is going to be coming out about that. We'll take you through that process of changing out the trailer lights on a 2-year-old trailer. So there's the nameplate. That's where they stick it for some reason. Not very accessible here, but that's where they did with it. So there's the galvanized trailer. I'm going to make our way back to the wheels. Okay, here on the tandem axle wheels, we got 13-inch tires. Not a big fan of the 13-inch tires. Would have rather have seen 15s on here. 13s, smaller diameter, obviously, more revolutions to keep up your tow vehicle, hence putting more stress on moving parts. Does have bearing buddies. That's what's behind those black caps. Did not come with a black cap, so I had to purchase that. Put them on there, just dust covers, just to kind of keep your grease clean. I should be checking that at least every 6 months. Make sure pumping some in there. So eventually we'll do a video where we change out the bearings. Moving back to the stern here, got those LED lights. Now, disclaimer, I did change out the 2 rear tail lights to LED submersibles. I was doing a video about that, and then it started torrential downpouring, and I'm underneath the tin roof, so it was so loud you couldn't hear me, and plus I was starting to get wet. So I did change them out, but I do have to come back. My heat shrink gun was not working, so I want to heat shrink those connectors, and I'll just kind of show you what I did with them and how I put them on. It's very simple, very easy, and then we'll change out those side markers, which I think I have to actually beat them off because the bolts are rusted fast, so I'm gonna have to cut them off in some manner. So we'll take you through that process. So it does have the white guide pipes. That's pretty standard. This trailer here next to me has the same thing, and there's a few down the way here that also have the white guide pipes. They are not guide pipes. They're just reference. I like to call them reference pipes. They're just to tell you where your trailer is in the water. If you cannot see these, you're in too deep, way too deep. And the boat will do what it's made to do and float over top of the trailer, not touching the bunk. So that defeats the whole purpose. In any case, these white pipes here are not any kind of guide, like I said. They're just there for reference. If you hit them, you'll kind of bounce off of them, but they will not hold the boat. Yeah, I've seen people run them over and snap them off. Happens quite often, more than you think. So it's just like kicking a field goal. You want to just kind of go down the middle of it the best you can. Right up the middle. So on here I did mount the long. This is a trailer that's over 8 inches, or the boat rather. You do need that center light. That is just, it's not a brake light. It is just a running light. I did change that out. For whatever reason, they had an incandescent strip in there. I'm not sure why. Everything else was LED, but in any case, I changed it out. Very simple, very easy. I believe that was out of West Marine for $20. I did install the transom saver. There's a lot of back and forth with that as well. Do they work? Do you need them? I chose, why not, to do it. Does go into the bottom of the unit here. Kind of goes around it. I have a bungee that goes around the back. I put some pressure on it, and it seems to work. I don't know. But why not? Again, why not? So I'm just going to use it. So an upgrade that I've done, I put these ratchet straps on the back here for the transom. This is my first time having these type of ratchet straps, and I absolutely love them. I will never go back to just manual ratchet straps. These are kind of expensive, $90 a piece, but so simple to use, and you don't have to store anything. So on here, you just basically, you pull the release down, you lift it all the way up, you hear that pop. It's like a seat belt. And then it just ratchets itself back in there. I just give it just a little pump there, just to kind of hold it. And then, bam, it's there. So when you come back, retrieve your vessel, pop them back up again. It becomes a seat belt, basically. Latch it back in there. I just pull that, me and me. And then I ratchet. You go as tight as, basically as tight as you can. You don't want to go crazy with it. And then they should sing a little bit, but simple. Very simple. Love them. $90. Well worth it, in my opinion. And then again, you're just making my way around here to starboard side, and you see that rust. All the pitting. I just don't know what else to do. And if anybody else knows what to do with a galvanized trailer to keep it surviving in salt life, just drop a comment. I'm sure other viewers want to know as well. This is this ABS plastic. You know, Magic Tilt. They use all aluminum, steel, metal, whatever. That's just the difference in trailer. So if I knew this trailer was, I'd say on the cheaper manufactured side, if the dealership would have said, I got 2 trailers, this one comes with it, and then I have, let's just use for example a Magic Tilt, I would have went with the Magic Tilt. Even if it was $3,000 to $4,000 more, I would have went with the Magic Tilt, just because more than likely I'm going to be buying another trailer here in the next couple years. So, but if you don't live in salt life, it may be a different story. Again, all that rust. Look at that. Rusting away. All that chipping off. Almost like a spray. Like they use some kind of galvanized spray on a metal trailer. Maybe that's all it is. I don't know. Again, I don't know. But this is an aluminum trailer. and obviously I have a galvanized. So the aluminum looks way better, nicer, does look nice. The only problem with aluminum trailers is they float because they're lighter. And I do see at docks sometimes, ramps, the trailer will float away on folks and they'll end up perpendicular. And if you're by yourself, it could be a problem because, you know, when you retrieve your boat and you're sitting in your boat to pull up on the trailer and now your trailer is perpendicular, you're going to have an issue. You're going to have to dock the boat again, try to, you know, pull the trailer out of the water and then try to get it straightened back out. So the galvanized is heavy, it will stay put. There's also holes in the bottom of the frame itself, so it fills up with water. I think it was sort of by design. I'm being generous. I think it was more of hand holes, I think, to pull the wire in the frame. Is why they burned holes in it. And this kind of, you know, water gets in there too. So maybe that's why it's rusting. I don't know. Maybe that's, there's no way really for me to blow the salt water out of the frame itself. So maybe it's just rotten from the inside out. I don't know. That could be the case. So the question comes, would I buy this trailer again? If I knew it was offered to me at the dealership, knowing what I know now, I would not. That's my opinion of the 2024 Warlock P246G tandem axle tri-tune galvanized trailer. So if you like this video, made it to the end, thank you. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Again, we'll grow the channel. If you want to see some other content, let me know. I will do anything boating related. And so thanks again for watching, and look forward here to my other videos here. I'm going to do another video on the actual tri-tune itself, the construction and materials they use, and then give you my overall opinion of the Palm Breeze manufacturer. Thanks again. Cheers.